Hey YouTubers, Nosy103 here. Thought I'd talk today about the GS500F and whether it's a good bike for beginners. Now, I learned to ride on this bike and I've been riding for quite a while now, and I've kept the bike the whole time. I haven't found really a need to upgrade just yet, although I would if I could afford it, I suppose. Now, I think from my experience, there's two things that conspire against you when you're a beginner rider. Number one's the weight of the bike, and number two's the seat height. So with this bike, the seat height's fine. It's about 790 millimeters, and that's fine for the majority of people. You shouldn't have any problems with that. However, at about 200 kilos, this bike's pretty heavy. So as a new person riding bikes, you will find that a little bit difficult at times, unless you're a pretty heavy person, quite tall and so on. But so for that alone, I would suggest that anyone looking to start riding should get a 250 or even one of these new 150s that are around. They're all fuel injected and so on. Now, so you can do better than one of these. This is a good bike, but it's very old school technology. There's no fuel injecting, there's no fuel injection. It's air cooled. There's no fuel gauge. So all this adds up to kind of a lot of extra work that you've got to do as a learner. Now, what I mean by that is, without a fuel gauge, it's just another thing you've got to think about. When I get fuel, I have to reset the trip meter. How much longer have I got to go before it goes to reserve? And because it's fuel injected, it's got a reserve tap on it. All these things are just extra stuff to try and keep in the back of your mind when you're learning to ride. You should be devoting your entire attention to riding safely and properly on the road, for your own safety, obviously. Now, having said all those things, a lot of people have said that this bike's got no power. Well, that's probably true. It hasn't got any power compared to a Super Sport 600, like a CBR 600RR. This thing's a slug compared to a bike like that. But I can tell you this bike's got more than enough get up and go for any learner, and really it's got more than enough power for anyone, really. You don't really need much more power than this thing's got. You probably want more, but you probably don't need it. The other great thing about it is it's very easy to work on. If you want to do some of the mechanical work yourself, you certainly can on this machine. It's so basic and so simple. Parts are so easy to get and relatively cheap. So that's a good thing about it. But again, as I said at the beginning of the video, if you're starting out on a riding hobby, you can do much better buying a modern 250cc. Now, a modern, like a Honda CBR 250R or Kawasaki Ninja. I think Kawasaki now bringing out a 300cc. Bikes like that will give you more than enough performance, and you'll find much easier to handle. It's going to be much easier for you to learn, much safer all round. Now, this bike here will give you roughly the same kind of performance as a modern 250cc. Just a little bit more, perhaps. A little bit more. It's got a bit more torque. But the extra weight of this bike eats up any additional performance you get out of the engine, any additional power from that 500cc engine. So there you have it. That's my opinion. It's my bike. I quite enjoy it, but I don't really think it's a bike for learners for the reasons I mentioned before. You can do far better spending probably less money buying a modern 250cc bike or one of these modern 150cc's. I think Yamaha bring out a good one. They're probably most of the manufacturers do. They're also excellent and well worth considering because they're so light. Anyway, talk to you again.